Hey guys, it's me again after a long break. A lot's been going on, and I've wanted so badly to document so many different aspects of my life, specifically for playing the fool, specifically about self-growth and challenging myself and life. And maybe I've recorded some videos here and there and just haven't posted them, or wanted to put them all together in an order or something and didn't post it, and have felt so behind on all the crazy shit that's been going on in my life that I have just kind of shut down completely. I have stopped trying to write posts about my experiences. I've stopped recording videos about my experiences. And I posted on Facebook today about that frustration, actually, just on my personal page. And somebody posted this really great video that suggests that, creators, I suppose, people in my situation are similar. They don't focus on creating so much as documenting, which is so me. And I don't know, I just kind of thought I wanted to offer something of use, something well thought out, and I realized that what's actually going on right now is that I've got all this pent-up story in me, and I've been avoiding letting that out because I've been wanting to create something more effective, more professional, more organized. And I think the best thing that I can do right now is actually just basically post a journal post about me. So here's a journal thing about me. This is about my life. If you're not interested in that, you might just skip this one because it's going to be long and rambly, and I'm just going to give myself permission to let that be that, and then post whatever I come out with. So yeah, I think the last time I really was tracking things was after moving out of my bougie apartment and buying an RV. So basically, I don't even know how long it's been. I think June-ish? June? Yeah. May? Maybe May? I don't remember. It's been some months. I was freelancing and had this perfect ideal client that was taking up exactly the amount of hours, paying me almost exactly what I wanted to get paid. It was a great job with great people. I was working in a really sexy office that I didn't have to pay for. Things were going great, so I decided to get this expensive apartment in Ballard, exactly what I wanted. It was very much a manifestation situation for me. It was everything I had was exactly what I wanted. I had the perfect job, I had the perfect apartment, they just sort of landed there, and I went and got them, and it was scary because the apartment was expensive, but it had everything I needed to be more mentally and emotionally balanced and happy and clean and healthy, and it was fucking awesome. It was just so good for me. Money does buy health in a lot of ways, and sanity. So yeah, I had this guilt about that situation, but everything was great. I was recently single. I was coming back to myself. It was a challenge, but it was great. And then I lost that client, and all of a sudden, I couldn't find other clients, not the same way that I always had, which is basically through sheer luck, I'm convinced. And I kind of freaked out fast. Looking back, in hindsight, I wish I hadn't. I wish I'd done something different, but I basically freaked out really quickly. Decided I had to get out of there. Considered living in my car for enough days that I decided actually to just buy an RV with the remaining money I had, which was $3,000. It was all the money I had, kind of. And then I knew that I would have a place for me in Halogen. And, I thought, in a way, after 3 months I'll start making money, or saving money at least, because Seattle rents are so high. I was paying quite a bit more than that, even, for the nice apartment. So yeah, that kind of turned into 5 or 6 weeks of not having any work. And I spent a lot of that time looking specifically for freelance contract work on my own, not through headhunters, basically, because they don't really do that kind of stuff. And I was trying to stick to that because I wanted to live cheaply, and I wanted to maintain sort of a freedom in my schedule, time in my schedule to work more on art and the band and the blog. And I've got this thing in my head where I really want to change careers, and I'm not sure what I want to do yet. And being able to freelance, at least in the past, has given me the time and space to not work as much as maybe a salary job would require. Now, of course, everybody's always said feast or famine, and that was never the case for me. But it sure as fuck has been now, the past few months. I did finally get a client. It was really... I had moved in, by the way, to my friend Phil's place. I stayed there for about 2 months with my cat Allergen. And he let me live there rent-free while I figured shit out, which was a humongous blessing. But also, just kind of weird. Like, I just got off of a 4-month high of finally living on my own in my own studio, and that felt really good. And being in someone else's space, that not only being in somebody else's space, but being in somebody else's space. Like, it wasn't like we moved in together or something and it was both of our stuff. It was like using his pots and trying to stay out of his hair and stuff like that. So that was weird, but good. Really helpful. I ended up getting a client, and then I ended up getting another client. They weren't really giving me... I think at this point, I'm still working with both of them, trying to finish up the projects. They were project-based rates as well. I usually do hourly, but I was desperate. And so it turns out I'm working for like 17 to 25% of my full rate of what I should be earning at this point in my career. It's kind of depressing, but at least it's held me through, I had to ask my dad for a bump or two, and that was awful. I tried really hard not to do that, and as a result, I've maxed out almost all of my credit cards in trying to avoid asking my parents for money. My dad's the only one who really can help, actually. But so I was at Phil's. I had this RV, and I'm just moving it around town because I just didn't want Halogen to be living like literally on the streets, It just didn't feel safe to me to like leave her in the RV alone when I went to the coffee shop to work, or if I went anywhere, band practice or whatever. So I waited until my friend Brian offered me a place to park the RV. So I was at Phil's place for 2 months, and then I moved into the RV. I think it was 3 to 4 weeks ago now. And I'm parked in Lake City, which is quite a bit of a distance away from my normal hub, which is in and of itself has been strange. Like, not existing in Ballard as sort of like the heart of my life has been really like weird. I haven't gone out quite as much, which is great, and I've enjoyed more quality time with fewer people, I think, which is nice. And it's a real shift. It's teaching me a lot about, I don't know, what I need actually, and what I think I need for sort of a healthy day-to-day. And I thought I really needed to be in the center of everything. I think that was still like really awesome. It felt good because like I could be in my little castle, so to speak, and the world was right there, just right there. Everything I need was within a block, or 3 blocks or 5 blocks or whatever. And that felt so great. I didn't feel isolated, so I was happy to stay indoors more often and drink less, work on art more, just be with myself more. That was really healthy for me. Being in Lake City, the bumfuck far away from everywhere, and having to drive 20 minutes or 30 minutes to get anywhere is more like I come home and maybe I'll have a drink with Brian, on the back porch, and like, back porch, that's nice, Or lately I've been coming home and going, I don't want to fucking be here, actually. So I'll go to a friend's place. Yeah, I thought I would be able to do this, but I really just don't want to be in here anymore. Anyway, so my story, my rambly-ass story. So I've been here for about 4 weeks, and I've been thinking a lot about how to get to where I want to be in life. In sort of every aspect of life. In work, in art, in relationships, in myself, living situation. There have been all these just huge questions, like, do I stay freelancing or do I go full-time? Do I stick out this RV thing or do I get an apartment? Do I keep Halogen or do I rehome her? Do I enter a relationship or not? It's another question that's been happening recently. And I've just been so lost. Like, I don't know that I've ever felt quite this lost, honestly, in all those those questions, because I don't know. I think I haven't really been connected to what my heart really wants. And I've learned recently that I get confused between a want, like a desire, and a false desire, and a should, and an addiction, and a need. So I'll explain those. So a need is, I have no money. I'm running out of money. I need money to survive. I need it. I just need it. So that's a need. And I've been trying to make decisions based on that. You know, find a way to not pay rent in Seattle, at least not pay very much rent in Seattle, or get work, freelance work, or if not, get a fucking full-time job right now, you know? So that's or ask dad for money. Jesus. So that's a need. A should is like ego-based stuff. So I moved into this RV and got really attached to the idea that I was a cool, strong, adventurous, brave person to do this. And I've been sticking with it in part because I don't want to, like, take it back and be like, nope, I was wrong, and have people look at me and say, oh, she's not as adventurous as I thought she was, or she's not as strong as I thought she was, you know? I want to be the type of person that does this, that can handle this. Of course, I realize that having a parked RV really kind of defeats the purpose of having an RV. The romantic lifestyle that I want involves actually traveling, and I'm not going to travel right now. I don't want to travel right now. I mean, I do, but there are things that are keeping me here that I want more than constantly being nomadic, you know? So anyway, so that's a should. And to make decisions based on shoulds is not smart. Make decisions based on needs sucks, but that's a responsible decision. Making decisions based on shoulds is bad. Addictions, that's kind of an obvious one. Weirdly, like, the best example I can think of is, like, should I enter a relationship or not? Like, am I addicted to love? Am I addicted to approval and stability, the stability of having a partner, things like that. So I'm asking myself, like, is that going into my decision-making process, and should I try to curb that? Then we've got desires, and I think there's something very pure about that, although I'm so tripped up in my own head about, like, where my desires come from that I worry that all of them are unhealthy. You know, like, being in a band, for example, I passionately want to be a singer. I am a singer. I'm loving being a singer. I wish I could do it for a living, you know? But part of me is like, you sure you really want to do that? Is it just because you want approval and you want to feel cool and you like respect the identity of musicians, you know? Of course, somewhere deep down inside, I'm sure that goes into the equation, but it trips me up because, like, I'm trying to connect to my core desires, my core passions, the things that really energize me in this world, and they're connected to my life, what I want to be my life purpose. And there's always a little voice inside going like, oh, you just, you know, your mom didn't take care of you as a kid or whatever, like that kind of shit, you know, and you're just looking for this. So that's been tripping me up, but I think making decisions based on your core passions, your true desires is bueno. Bueno. That's the goal, is to be making all decisions based on that. Bueno. And then there's false desires. So, not to contradict myself, but a false desire would be, I want to make more money. Even let's say, I'll just throw out a high number, like I want to make 100K this year or whatever. That is a false desire. No one wants money. Money doesn't mean anything. Money isn't anything. It's paper. It's a nothing. It's a thing we made up. It's a concept. It's an idea. It is a means to an end, more specifically. So what I want is not $100,000 a year. What I want is to be able to relax about money, to feel safe and secure financially, safe and secure in my life. I want shit to just be easy, you know? So I want to make 100K a year is a false desire. I want financial stability and abundance, or a sense of wealth, wherever it comes from, however much money that requires. That's what I want, you know? So having all these really big decisions on my plate has been kind of confusing, because all five of those things are mixed up in me trying to make a decision about whether I should stay with freelancing or go full time, or whether I should move into an apartment or stay in the RV. Like, I'm so fucking confused. Like, I'm 33, man. You'd think I'd be able to fucking adult by now. But like, I'm pretty bad at adulting. And I know I'm not the only one. I think I'm existing in a generation of people who many have done the traditional get the good job, work really hard, you know, don't have a life, then, you know, get a wife and get your kids and get your house and get your car and retire like a normal person or whatever. I think a lot of people in my generation have done that. I don't know about far more, but far more than in the past, have wanted to live, to adventure, to not be a slave to money or a slave to survival even. And I think a lot of them actually haven't had a choice in that. Probably more than are doing it, or I don't know, choosing to live or whatever. Many of them are just, I'm part of a generation of people who have been completely fucked over, you know? We don't have the supports that they had in the 50s. There's no family wage, and so on and so on and so on. But as a result, I don't feel like the only fuck up in my generation. I just feel like one of the few incredibly privileged people who has marketable skills. I'm very lucky for that. I'm so lucky, you know, to be quote unquote privileged from a middle class family and all that. And I'm still fucking up. I've still completely fucked up. I have completely, at this point, completely fucking fucked up. My finances have never been this bad. I never thought they could get this bad. I don't know what I fucking did. I already have, like, really addictive tendencies, and I have gone through a lot of depression and anxiety in the past few years, a lot of, like, crazy lifestyle changes. The element in my life that kept me reasonably balanced and reasonably responsible has been gone for 3 years. My ex, Jack, we were together for 10 years. Swear to God, I don't know who I would have turned out to be if he hadn't been there for those 10 years, but I have a feeling it's probably worse than where I'm at now. He was just so responsible and chill, and we were codependent, but hey, at least that kept me from spending too much and drinking too much. There's got to be a better balance than that, I know. But yeah, the past 2 years have just been fucking crazy. And I've gone fucking crazy. And I guess I've gone crazy financially too. And this is in a way that I'm like, this isn't rock bottom in a way, because like I have my health. I have a family. I have someone I can go to if I need to, you know. And I have an insanely supportive friend group. I have marketable skills. But for me, financially, this is totally rock bottom. system. And I'm only laughing because I'm so ashamed. I'm so fucking ashamed of what I have done to myself. And in complete disrespect for my father, who has loaned me money to bail me out a couple times now. And jeez, this is like the third time I've almost cried during this video. I think I might need to have like a cry session after this. I just haven't really been in my body lately. So, I guess back to the story. I've had a hard time making these decisions. I finally decided to try to go full-time. So I've been applying for full-time jobs, but God, so many of them are just... What gets me is when they ask the question, so where do you want your career to go? How do you want to grow in this job, and how can we help you? And inside I start screaming because I don't fucking care anymore. That's why I'm trying to change careers. Ironically, I need a job to stabilize myself so that I can get the fuck out of that job. And it's, everybody wants to know where I want to go. You know, I've been doing this for 10, 15 years now. And every time somebody asks me that, I'm like, oh God, I don't belong here. Because I have to lie. And that feels, you feel that in your chest. That's a huge lie, you know? And it never really bothered me lying like about that before. But now it really bothers me. It just, I don't know if it's just because it's harder for me to lie, or I'm more sensitive to when I'm not being true to myself, or if it's just like the inside of me screaming like, this is not where you belong. You know, this is not what you should be doing with your life. Or what, but it's really frustrating. There is one job that I really, really liked, and fucking Mercury retrograde, like, I thought they were going to get back to me on Tuesday, and it's Thursday, and they haven't gotten back to me, and I'm like holding off on all these other jobs, and I don't know. Meanwhile, I'm trying to understand manifestation, you know, and I think I'm really only 25% in. You know, it seems really simple on the outside of things, but when you're trying to like understand your own beliefs about science and psychology versus like magic and mysticism, and how those interact, and how they are the same thing or not the same thing, where they overlap and not, like, this manifestation philosophy gets kind of deep. So I've been trying to manifest a job to save my ass, you know, and what I really want to manifest in my life is a new career. Like, that's the end goal or whatever. But I realized that I'm in the water right now. I was on the shore, and I fucking fell into the fucking water, and I can't look at the shore on the other side until I get some stepping stones. So I realized that everything I've been manifesting, everything I've been asking the universe for, so to speak, everything I've been admitting to myself that I want, has been, you know, coming to me and being offered to me, and all I have to do is, you know, kind of grab it and work on it. But it's been very confusing because I'm like, this isn't really what I want. It's what I need, but it's not really what I want. And if that's the case, then am I doing this right? If that's the case, then is that why so many things keep coming and then sort of falling apart and not working out? Is it because like my heart's really not into it? You know, that's some weird shit, man. That's like a very deep level of this stuff. And, you know, I, again, quote unquote, ask the universe for what I want or whatever. And all of a sudden I see a lot of what I want, supposedly, around me. And I start freaking out, going like, which one's the right one? What's the right answer? You know, and I think I'm confusing gifts from the universe with guidance. You know, I keep thinking the world at large as if it, you know, is like some kind of entity or whatever is going to tell me what to do. And as, you know, like, that's not the case. I don't believe that, you know, although I am kind of obsessed with omens too. I don't necessarily believe in them, but I like playing it that I believe in them. It's more fun. So, like, I'm getting confused about that. I think it's kind of neurotic, honestly. I think it's kind of neurotic and paranoid rather than fun and whimsical. And that's where the whole magic thing kind of gets me sometimes. But I've realized lately that, you know, the way I see manifestation, for the most part, I feel like I've been kind of like disturbed by the sort of mystical component of it, and I'll explain that in a second. But the seeming mystical component. But what I believe for sure about manifestation is that when you come out in your brain and say, I want this very specific outcome, your brain is suddenly in a more positive place, which makes it function better and more effectively. It's suddenly focused on something and ready to notice more of that in the world. And I think that's kind of how it works. You know, it's really just it's a hyper focus and a high efficiency level of functioning of the brain. Sentences, and so when I say like gifts from the universe, I really just mean my perception has shifted, and I've been able to see more solutions to my problem than I had before. The mystical component, though, is really weird. So someone reminded me the other day, they say that the universe will give you what you ask for by the path of least resistance. And so I finally admitted to myself that I don't actually want to be in this RV. This is not what I want for myself right now. I love my bed. It's so cozy. My bed's always cozy. You know, I love the idea of it. It's great, but it's been completely inconvenient, and I haven't put the effort in to really make it a functioning situation. And even if it were, I think it would still not be what I want. So I finally admitted to myself that I don't want to be in this RV. I want to move into an apartment. And I still want to save money, so I want it to be a cheap apartment. And I just kept kind of saying to myself, like, it wasn't even like necessarily a manifestation moment. It was just kind of like, Jesus, I just want to be in an apartment. I just want me and Halogen to be in an apartment. Like, fucking fuck, I just want this. Like, please, you know? And the next day, I happened to notice on Facebook that a good friend of mine posted a really cheap apartment, a really cheap room opening up in a household. And that's awesome. And her boyfriend, who I don't know, lives there. And then somebody else I know, but haven't talked to in a long time, lives there. And what's really weird about this place is that it is literally 4 blocks away from the house of this guy I've kind of been seeing for the past month and a half, and have been there quite a lot. And I was like, trying to understand this whole path of least resistance thing. I was like, what does that mean? Like, least resistance for whom? For the universe? For me? Like, what does that mean? And it struck me like that could potentially be what that means. And it's just so strange. Like, in a way, ideally, I would like to be back in Ballard, but this thing is kind of right down the street from me and from the place I've been hanging out so often lately. And I don't know if that's the right thing or the best thing for me. But it just seemed so serendipitous that I was kind of like, yeah, I don't know. I like saying, like, sometimes, every once in a while, when I feel, like, really in alignment with myself, I'm like, universe is point a finger, you know, like, this thing. And it just kind of feels like, it was like, here you go, you know. So yeah, I'm clearly having a problem, like, characterizing the universe as, like, a creature or whatever, versus, like, what I actually believe. But I don't know. Maybe I'll decide not to talk like that at some point. Right now it's kind of fun. And it's common parlance, you know, in this realm or whatever. So yeah, so I'm just kind of in this holding pattern right now. I went and saw that room in the house, and I said, yeah, I want it. And I figured that would be a good stepping stone, whether I'm there for a year or 5 years or whatever. And I hope I'll be in there in 3 weeks, starting October 1st. Worst case would be like November 1st, which would drive me fucking crazy, but would be fine. And I am waiting to hear back from this fucking job, and avoiding getting back to a couple other jobs that I really need to get back to. Meanwhile, I might have more contract opportunities. A bunch of them fell through recently, so I was like, oh, maybe it's pointing towards full-time or whatever. So I don't know, I just feel very, very frustrated, very in this kind of like emotional and stability purgatory of sorts. The other thing that's been going on, I won't talk too much about, I suppose, because it's new, is sort of a romantic relationship, a romantic endeavor, romantic experience. And this has been very challenging to me for so many reasons. It's also been really rewarding, hands down rewarding, incredibly rewarding, but also healing and stabilizing in a way and comforting in a way. Very supportive situation. It just sort of it seemed to come out of the blue in July. And I've definitely done that whole new relationship energy, let's spend all of our time together thing, which I'm really wary about, but I don't like being in the RV either, so I'm just like, get me out of here. And he's been there, so we're both like that, and I need to be I feel like I haven't really been in touch with myself too much lately, and I think that's the challenge of early, like, enmeshment. I really want to make sure that I don't get too enmeshed, or codependent, but the situation I'm in is, like, I'm in a very weak space, emotionally, and it's just, this person is particularly sweet, and particularly comforting, and just easy, and he, like, makes me food and stuff, and these are not all the reasons I hang out with him, like, just so that I can get away from my RV or whatever. It's not that at all, but, like, that's not helping me have me time, basically, is what I'm saying. Yeah, it's been a real blessing. He's the first person I've been romantically involved in that I feel just kind of really accepts me completely in a relaxed way, and is just kind of quietly supportive. Oh god, I have so much to say, and I'm trying, like, just not to, like, invade anybody's privacy here, but yeah, so that's really interesting. There's some tension there, because there's a sort of, I want to be poly and he wants to be monogamous and all that stuff, but I don't know. The wonderful thing is that I think both of us are trying to pay attention to what we want and what we need, but we are also trying to explore ourselves and expand ourselves and let what the other person brings to the table challenge us and open us up. And that's obviously incredibly healthy, you know? I wouldn't be hanging out here if that wasn't clear from the beginning. Oh, what else did I want to say about that? My mind just went blank. Well, anyway, it's, oh, right, what I wanted to say was, I feel like jumping into another relationship right now is, like, worst idea ever. I kind of just got out of one. In a way, the last one and I have been broken up for, like, 6 months or something, but only really stopped hanging out, like, a month or so ago, and that was really painful, and oh Jesus, like, I've just serial monogamous, man. Or serial relationship-ist is what I have been, and I really enjoyed being single, and I really need to find a way to, like, maintain that freedom, but at the same time, I kind of just decided, like, I could die in a week, I could die anytime. Why hold yourself back from expressing and experiencing love and affection with somebody just so that neither of you get hurt later? I mean, that's like being willing to accept the possibility of pain is a prerequisite for any healthy, amazing, loving relationship, So I'm kind of just trying to embrace that and feel what I feel when I want to feel it, and do what I want to do when I want to do it, So that's where I'm at. The band is good, by the way. The band is also kind of in this weird purgatory. We need to write new material, but we're excited about recording, and I've got a lot of shows. I'm not sure. I'll probably update more about that more often. I weirdly somehow thought I should disconnect certain aspects of my life from playing the fool, and I think actually what I need to do is bring them in. So I'll probably talk a lot more about the band, about my uncertainties, and about what I've learned, and about my experiences there. I'm definitely feeling like I haven't been putting my whole heart into it lately, and I think that's because I don't know what it is still. And now that we've had another turnover in terms of membership, I don't I'm trying to sort of cater to what I think the boys want, and they don't want me to do that. I know. So I need to sort of step up and have a lot of confidence in myself and just sort of take the reins and say, like, I want us to stand for this, and take into account what everybody else wants too, but like, I need to be able to own the fact that it is kind of my band. I want it to be more of everybody's band than it ever has been. I want them all to really own it too. But yeah, I need to fill that space. And if marketing is going to happen, and if exciting projects are going to happen, I kind of need to make it happen, because I don't think it's going to happen on its own. So anyway, wow, here I am. And here you are. And here we all are. I don't know what's going to come out of me next. But for the few of you who have watched this whole thing, thank you. I hope you got something out of it. I can't really think of any way I could have been more authentic than this. So, good job, girl. Boy, girl. Dude. And, yeah, I guess I'm just really glad right now that I just got all that out to get it out. And, got a lot more coming up, and a lot more to say, and a lot more to talk about, and a lot more to share. I'd also like to listen if anybody has any thoughts. But yeah, thank you. And I guess I am just going to wrap this up. Love you guys. You make my life extra worth living. Bye-bye.